The Fiend made his return to WWE at Fastlane last weekend and has since stepped back into the feud with Randy Orton. The Viper set the star alight back at TLC in December. The Fiend debuted a new appearance when he made his return. A change was expected as the WWE Universe saw the former Universal Champion burn in the center of the ring just 3 months ago. The Fiend's new look has definitely turned a few heads over the past week. Wyatt has been recognized as one of the scariest superstars in the company right now, if not one of the scariest of all time. Whilst this new look had the desired effect that WWE was looking for when The Fiend made his return, it could be argued it isn't practical for the superstar moving forward. Join us as we look at the reasons The Fiend's new appearance could backfire. Before we get into it, be sure to drop a like and subscribe for more wrestling content. Number 5. Is The Fiend able to wrestle in front of a live crowd in his new attire? The Fiend has only had to appear in a WWE ring and deliver a handful of moves since returning in his new attire, leading to the question of whether or not it is practical. The former Universal Champion will perhaps face off in a cinematic match against Randy Orton at WrestleMania in just over a week's time. The WWE Universe will make their return at WrestleMania and are expected to be part of some events afterwards. But can The Fiend wrestle live in his new attire? What if his mask falls off and it ruins the illusion, much like when Reckoning lost her mask on Raw a few months ago? WWE stars have to wrestle live, and The Fiend will be forced into a live match at some point where his new attire will be put to the test. It's likely the company has already seen The Fiend wrestle in this attire to ensure that it works in front of a live crowd, but accidents happen. Losing his mask or part of his attire could be a huge problem for The Fiend on live TV. Number 4. Could The Fiend's new look be seen as high maintenance? Bray Wyatt has been portraying himself and The Fiend on WWE TV since 2019, and it's believed that Bray Wyatt, as a character, will be making his return at some point in the future. That being said, if Bray Wyatt starts to reappear, it could mean The Fiend and Wyatt will switch characters in order to continue the illusion they are two separate people. WWE was able to do this a number of times without an audience when it entailed Wyatt just changing his attire and mask. But there are much more makeup and costume changes involved in The Fiend's new look, which means it would take much longer to prepare. Whilst there are several stars like Jeff Hardy and Goldust who take time to paint their faces ahead of matches, there has to come a point when Wyatt stops and thinks about how high maintenance this new look has become and finds a new way to bring his character alive. Number 3. Will WWE's sponsors approve The Fiend's change? WWE has several sponsors they must please in order to maintain a solid working relationship. But The Fiend's new look could be quite the issue given it's something many families may complain about. In recent years, TV networks and sponsors have forced WWE to drop storylines or change them completely. This could be something that happens in the future if there are people who are offended by The Fiend's new look. The Fiend has already appeared on Monday Night Raw since making his return, and there doesn't seem to have been much backlash from this appearance. It will be interesting to see if this changes. Most recently, there was talk of intergender matches making their return to the show when Dean Ambrose was set to feud with Nia Jax. But sponsors reportedly forced WWE to make a U-turn on the plan. This storyline has already pushed many limits since Randy Orton and Alexa Bliss collided in an intergender match at Fastlane, so it's unclear which boundaries WWE may decide to cross next. Number 2. Is this something that could work long-term for The Fiend? Will The Fiend be stuck in this attire for the rest of his career now that Randy Orton has burned him to the point where he is unrecognizable? After all, the shock factor has now passed, and, as noted earlier this week by Vince Russo, WWE was making a lot of merchandise money from The Fiend and his original mask. So, will the company find a loophole to take The Fiend back? The current mask would probably work for a Halloween costume, but it isn't likely to be as popular with the younger generation as The Fiend's original look. Bray Wyatt still has several years left of his WWE career, and it seems unlikely this will be a look that he will stick with for the whole time. Given the way The Fiend's character has been pushed since his debut, it's likely there will be a supernatural way for The Fiend to be able to return to his old look. Number 1. What does The Fiend's new look mean for young children who watch the show? The Fiend was already quite a scary character. But Wyatt was able to find the unique blend between appealing to both youngsters and adults. The Fiend's new look may not be capable of doing the same thing, since WWE has gone into unique detail with his arms, legs, and even his hair to show he has been badly burned. WWE has evolved over the years, and even though the company is no longer technically under the PG banner, there are still many youngsters who tune in and watch the show. The Make-A-Wish Foundation has shown how much many children look up to WWE superstars, and this scary change could be an issue for many of them. Could the Fiend's new look now be too scary for the younger demographic of the WWE Universe? Will this cause WWE some major problems when they're allowed to welcome the WWE Universe back to live shows in the near future? What are your thoughts on this matter? Drop your thoughts below.